text. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'll call the City of Ferndale Planning Commission meeting of Wednesday, July 12th, 2023 to order at 6:34. We will start with roll call attendance.
Hagfors.
Here.
Azar.
Here.
Foster.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Raisin.
Here.
Akers.
Here.
Councilman Polika.
Here.
And we do have an excuse absent for Vice Chair
Mine wasn't on.
Showalter, with the addition of a new baby this week. And
I'd like to move to excuse Commissioner Showalter.
And we haven't heard from Commissioner Kramer, Husky Kramer, so we can excuse her. And
Okay, I would move
Support.
to, excuse Commissioner Showalter and Kramer.
And in support.
Thank you.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to approval of the agenda. This evening we have a public hearing, 5A, for the consideration of a special land use application and site plan review of 1401 Faro, an industrial development. Are there any proposals to amend the agenda for this evening?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
That is a motion by Hagfors and a second by Akers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Reason, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
I was going on location. I apologize. Next, we have approval of minutes, the consideration of the minutes from our June 21st meeting. Any comments or edits to the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Support.
That is a motion by Brazen and support by
Polika.
Polika. Wow, guys, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Problem is, I'm still writing notes for my previous, gotta slow down, sorry. All right, moving on, we have call to audience. If there's anyone in the audience this evening who would like to speak on a matter other than the special land use for 1401. Looks like there is not, and so we can move on to our public hearing. Public hearing this evening will start by a presentation from our city planner, Mr. Bryce, move on to a presentation from our applicant, and we will open it up for a public hearing if there is anyone who would wish to speak on the matter. And then we'll bring it to the table for discussion by the commission and motion. The special land use will be a recommended motion for the city council, where it will ultimately be decided, and the site plan will be decided at the commission. With that,
Thank you, Chair Foster. Good to see everyone here tonight. Thank you for braving the rain. For this item, we will actually be led by planner Christine Ross. So I will be here on standby, but she's going to take over from here.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we are switching it up tonight, so I will be doing my first one, so bear with me here. But so this special land use and site plan approval is for 1401 Faro. The applicants, McDermott and the SIDOC group, are seeking approval for the construction of a 12,400 square foot warehouse and a 5 truck well. The site is zoned M2 General Industrial, and warehousing is permitted by right in this district, but the reason why it's a special land use is because the warehouse will handle and store materials that are deemed hazardous by state or federal regulations. I do want to note that the special land use was already approved by City Council at the September 12th, 2022 City Council meeting, so pretty recently, but basically just tonight, this is just a warehouse expansion, and it has to go through the special land use process because it is an expansion. So the applicants are here tonight just to explain their project and go over everything, but that's about it for me. The applicant is requesting a waiver of the prohibition of sheet metal as a building material. This is because the existing warehousing is constructed out of sheet metal, and they just want to keep the whole look uniform. And the applicant is also requesting to pay into the tree fund for 7 greenbelt trees. 13 are required, and they are proposing to plant 6. So that's about it for me. So I'll pass it off to the applicants, and Kyle and I will be here to answer any questions. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good page for that? Okay.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thanks for seeing us again. The slide here, or my name is Wayne Dutton. I'm with the SIDOC group. We are the architects and engineers for the project. So we prepared the packet before you tonight. As was mentioned, we were approved in the past, but that was without expanding the facility. And now it makes sense for our client's business to expand.
Glad to hear it.
So essentially, they produce next door to neighboring property, as you might remember, and this will be their storage area in shipping and receiving. So I guess this slide here is kind of nice just to give you an idea of what is happening, and then we can get into the other plans. But building 1, 2, and 3 exist on the site today. You may have read through our packet. Building 3 is unoccupied. It's more of an office building that may be developed sometime in the future, but there's no plans for that right now. Building 2 is an empty, small warehouse with a drive coming off of Ferndale Street to it. And then we're focused on the building 1, which consists of 2 larger warehouses and the breezeway connecting them. The blue areas is where we're going to add on, and that's about the 12,400 square feet. And kind of the orange area, if you will, that's the truck dock area, and that will be a true outdoor truck dock where the trucks kind of go lower and back up to the 5 doors on that side there. So that, in essence, is the plan of what we're constructing. Again, the building is clad in, steel standing seam siding and roofing. Given that we're just kind of extending the facades, design-wise, it really didn't make sense to bring a bunch of new materials, even though it kind of doesn't meet your criteria. We're just going to match the look of the building. It's pulled really far off of Ferndale, so I don't know if that's a benefit to us with facade materials, but it just seems natural just to blend the existing buildings together. And then if you go to, or I guess I can scroll down. These photos here just give you a sense of the structure. Currently, it is metal siding on the top half and more of an EFIS or concrete on the bottom, and we do understand that EFIS is not a desired product, so the new additions will just be metal siding, the full side. Parking and landscaping. Scroll over here. This is just more of a detailed drawing of that first sheet. 2 additions in dark gray. This lighter gray is where we anticipate we'll need to do new concrete work because of the truck docks. And then we're going to, the rest of the existing parking lot that's there today will remain. We did adjust parking space numbers based on square footages and whatnot, which is in the packet, and have fulfilled the requirements, Ferndale zoning requirements. The trees along Ferndale, the reason we're contributing to the tree fund, where we do have lawn area that does work with trees, we did plant down here to the right and along the front of the buildings. But when you do get up to this parking lot area, there's just not enough width of green for additional trees, so we do have a buffer of nice shrubs and plants in that location.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
do you mind if I interrupt real
Oh,
quick?
absolutely. Yeah.
Is that, so you say there's not enough width, there's clearly quite a long space, but is that due to the truck
We have,
turning?
yeah, the width is because, I guess it might not be clear to see here, between this inside face of the grass area, there's a security fence here.
Okay,
So between the fence and that curb, it really doesn't allow us to put significant trees there. So we did dress it up with shrubbery as a screen there. But that's kind of why we're short on the facade trees.
Thank you for explaining that.
However, we are beautifying the lot even more. We're adding trees within the site plan itself. So we have some trees here in front of the warehouse and along this back berm, just to add greenery to the site and try to meet the number of trees required given the size of the site. So in essence, I mean, overall, that's kind of the overall project and what we're attempting to do here. Get a chance to dive into it if you have any questions for me or ownership.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure everyone in the, here is with you.
Yes.
But I have to officially open a public hearing before we get to questions.
Very good.
All right, thank you. So, at 6:45 PM, I will open the public hearing for the consideration of the special land use application and site plan review for 1401 Fair Street. As I don't see anyone in the audience, I would ask city staff, did we have anyone call or email on the project?
No, we did not receive any calls or emails. We did the standard 300 feet to owners and occupants within all the structures and didn't receive anything.
Thank you. And with that, I will close the public hearing at 6:46 PM. All right. I would like to start with potential landscaping, unless anyone, since we were talking about it and I already started with a question. I think the addition of the additional trees, of the extra tree, or the proposed trees is wonderful for the site. And I see that with the existing buildings, you had some trees in front between like the parking lot and the buildings. It just seems like almost a missed opportunity to do the same thing with the building, especially with the requirement of the trees. Even though they're supposed to be along Faro, you could add them to this other site. And then for the occupants, for your clients, for your employees, might just be a nice little greenery in front of the, industrial building otherwise.
Some picnic tables.
With some big, I'm sure other spots on the site for that as well, but I was thinking the same thing almost.
We do have, I'll scroll to the end, we do have a landscape plan, so that might be easier to review with you, given that. Here we are. How do I zoom out on this one? Oh, there we go.
And just for some other reference, typically when we see new, and this is of course an existing site with existing parking lot, when we see improvements to parking lots and new parking lots, we like to see that there's some impervious surface within the parking lot with trees, and so that we can shade some of that portion. Parking lots tend to create a lot of heat and stormwater runoff, and so these are some of the measures that we take to prevent some of that, which is helpful on the site. Just sort of where I'm coming from. Sorry, go ahead though.
Yeah, so I guess cleaner view of it here, given this is purely the landscaping. I'll just kind of give a quick sweep through this, but again, the 6 trees along Faro, the shrub row along Faro. We do have some existing trees here in front of, or along the side of the existing building. We are adding 4 evergreen type trees here as an additional buffer to the building. And then again, the bank of trees along the back.
Are those evergreen too? Sorry, I could look.
Yeah, we have, I guess we gave ourselves an option here with the note to maybe mix that between deciduous and evergreen back, just so it's not all one type.
I think that just fits in with, I'm sure we'll discuss the waiver for the sheet metal siding as well. And so, having the evergreen trees along the side kind of helps break it up for anyone who is in clear view of the facade.
These photos here give you a sense of the trees selected for the site here.
Thank you.
Red maple, Bradford pear, little leaf lindens, Austrian pines, and blue spruce. The difficulty with the parking lot on this one is the areas needed for semi-trucks to sweep in and back into those spots there. Did want to add some out in the paving areas could be a little challenging. They might be, I don't think we'd have an opportunity because of the truck traffic in this area I'm circling here.
And on that note, with the traffic flow, so the trucks come in off of the road, they stay to the northern edge of the property and then back into the truck well, is that correct?
Yep, they'll all come to this position as they back into the truck well.
Okay, so then, kind of going back to the question about the trees along Faro and like the shrubbery, why is the drive lane so wide for that entrance there?
That's paving. Currently today, there's parking spaces there,
Okay,
but they don't qualify in today's zoning ordinance.
okay.
And we did not need those for the quantity of our numbers, so
Okay.
we eliminated those.
So could you, in essence, eliminate the concrete on that site and then that would give you some space for some additional
We
trees
could,
on property?
we could, yeah, that's physically possible, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I wasn't sure if that was a truck lane or not because of how wide it was, but now it makes sense that if you don't need the parking,
Yeah.
to eliminate it. And that may also kind of set you up for whether you use the office building in the future for additional space, or even if you were the sublease, that could also kind of position that to be a good property for future development too, by just making it look a little more.
Yeah, we'd be willing to do that, yeah, absolutely, because we'd still have enough of an aisle for the parking spaces there, even if we make that wider.
Okay.
Yeah, we could make that happen.
That'd be great. I like that.
Do you think you could put 2 or 3, just if we still need to waive some trees?
I think
do you have
I think you could do 3 trees there.
Any other questions or conversation on the landscaping plan?
Not the landscaping, but okay. But the parking. Seriously, I feel like I'm in the Matrix. Because I thought the last time we talked, you had talked about the expansion of this building and knocking down that little guard shack kind of building, and expanding out forward and putting the trees along the west end. And I thought I recall you having truck traffic come down Bonner. Wasn't there a conversation about Bonner?
I don't recall, I'd have to defer to the issue.
Do you mind coming up to the,
Yeah, you need to.
we
sorry.
record, so thank you for coming up to the microphone.
I mean, am I that
For
crazy?
the 2 people at home who are possibly tuned in, you know.
I know it doesn't.
The new dad at home trying to put his
No.
baby to sleep.
Yeah.
We
The
are
last time you were here.
approaching the owner of this approach, because we don't have an approach from Bonner. That's owned by the
Okay.
car place, it's like a
Suburban.
collision.
Suburban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a little gap there between Bonner and our property that is owned by Suburban, and we need that, which we're working with the owner of the current building to kind of get us some sort of communication so we can either purchase that little slip
Okay.
or rent it or something so we can have that access. But yes, right now, nothing will be going through Bonner
Okay.
until we can work something out.
Okay. I swear, I thought we had that conversation. I mean, did your original request, when you first brought it to us last year, did your original request for the special land use include the conversation of expanding the building?
We had plans of expanding the building, yes.
At that time?
Yes. We
Okay.
had plans, but they were a little further out. We just wanted to get the special land use so we can get some stuff in there as a warehouse.
Okay.
And so I guess I'm not close enough, but so we can start using it as a warehouse because we were trying to
Yes.
consolidate some things into it.
Okay.
Which already happened, so now.
So I'm not completely crazy.
No, we're
Okay.
fast forwarding now a little to get into the expansion that we're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, through the chair, so we did, I guess, approve the removal of the, outbuilding that's roughly located here.
Yeah.
And then we did approve, they were pre-engineered docking stations.
Okay.
So that's pretty much everything that we approved last time around. But I think there was a general idea that this was
Okay.
coming in the future. But I think they have moved on this faster than originally intended. So I don't think have you gotten the ball rolling with the pre-engineered docking? Is that out there and being used right now?
There is no, so we We have a, yes, we have a roll-in docking that we use to bring material in, yes, so it's there.
Okay,
We knocked the little shack that was in the way. We removed that as per the discussion in September last year.
because I remember having the conversation about adding the trees on the
Yep.
western end of the property.
We did,
Okay,
we did.
and that's usually associated with, new construction, not just a special land use change. So, okay, so this now starting to all make sense. I probably should have went back and looked at the meeting.
Oh, from last year?
Yeah. Okay, that was my only question, was about Bonner. I thought that we had had a conversation last time about Bonner, but,
Okay. Nothing else about the parking lot?
no, I have no issues with reducing the parking lot because your use of the property is completely changed, so.
Through the chair, back to the landscaping. So again, given your space to maneuver semi-trucks, which I get, they're very large, is there the possibility, if you can scroll over back to the east, is there a possibility to make the end caps of these three parking into grass islands that could then accommodate trees in the parking lot? Because I see how large your entrance is. That should accommodate what, a semi-truck pulling out and pulling in at the same time.
Yeah, if I were to pull this line this way,
Yep, correct.
then we could explore, yeah, the opportunity that these could be widened
Okay.
8 feet, and you could possibly, yeah, and maybe it's these two here, and I'd have to think about this one with the turning radius maybe needed for a truck, just as that
Understandable.
first one.
Through the chair, as opposed to trees and islands, I would propose or suggest maybe, I never, the redirectional, what we talk about on
The
the,
rain garden?
like just water that can go into, negative curb. Like what they're doing on Woodward now is they're diverting the water into a lower reservoir where it can seep into the ground as opposed to just pushing it right into the sewer.
Say, through the chair, from my experience with swales, they would just have to make sure that the water flow, the sheet flow plan for the parking lot wouldn't just like, if those are the drains, like to the left of where it says parking lot, and then in the kind of horizontal parking
Right here.
setup, those two, yeah, then you just want to make sure that the sheet flow coming from the east isn't just going to all end up pooling.
Oh, so you have a lake?
Correct.
Yeah.
So it might not be feasible to use them as rain gardens. That's for their landscape designer too.
Yeah.
But if possible, you're encouraging, yeah, some.
Yeah, I think you have the ability to do something there. Again, knowing that obviously the site needs to operate for what you're using it for, but I think the space is there to accommodate something.
Okay.
It's something.
So I guess in this case, because obviously we're not going to design at the table,
Right.
but we're going to, I think in this case, there would probably be some kind of a,
Island or?
yeah, like an island that could either, I mean, depending on if the rain garden was a possibility, but at least the bare minimum, an island with a tree on it, I think is something that could be added to it, obviously through further exploration on your end. Yeah.
I through the chair, I concur, the choice is either divert the water from the storm sewer or cool down the asphalt parking lot with a shaded tree.
Yeah, I think that brings it up more into the design of a more modern parking lot, especially with the request of the special land use. I think it makes sense in this case. To make some improvements, won't make you go full out.
No, it's not, and I think we
works
don't
with the
have
site.
we don't take any issue with doing those couple of modifications there.
Okay.
We'll have a gentleman out here cutting this pavement right here anyway, so then he can come over here.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think from a design standpoint, Absolutely the first two, but the third one, I think we would leave as a striped area for the,
Or you could even
for the.
have the extended line and kind of curve it,
Yeah.
but again,
Yeah,
you'll
to follow
look at
that, yeah.
All right, anything else on landscaping or the parking lot or what is the word I'm looking for?
Site plan?
Sorry?
Site
So
plan?
anything, I guess. We can move on to design. I guess so cars move and pedestrians move. What is that word I'm looking
flow, circulation.
for? Circulation.
That was the one.
Thank you. Site circulation, whether vehicular or pedestrian. Nope. Anyone want to have any issue with the waiver on the metal siding? Do we want to discuss? I didn't either. Anything else? All right. Well, if there's nothing further that we have for firming up with our applicant, I would, I think we have a,
I didn't make any.
I made some notes,
Okay.
but does Deb, or sorry, Commissioner Brazen, did you
I have a note, but that's in the site plan approval, change the number of trees.
have? In the site plan approval. So, I think they, so we need to, I think they're finding in the site plan approval, I might have been looking at the wrong one. Okay?
We want to do a special land use first.
Yeah, for the, for the sheet metal, sorry, yeah, sorry, I was just making sure that we had everything covered within, between the two site plan and the, okay. Yeah, I think that would be for the tree, the addition of the landscaped area on the east side of the parking lot, and an addition of a landscape island in the parking lot, and another.
I'm gonna leave that in the site plan. So I'm gonna move, in the matter of 1401 Farrow, Sidwell number 2535105007. For public hearing was held as set for this date and place. Planning Commission recommends to the City Council approval of the special land use based on plans dated June 29th, 2023 with the following findings as listed 1 through 5 and one condition as written.
Have a second?
Second.
As a motion by Brazen and a second by Baker, I do have a question for staff. In the motion, I think we've talked about this in the past, it just says approval of the special land use. It doesn't say the type of the special land use. Do we want to add that to the motion for clarity in the future?
Yeah, I think the reason why we had the condition would be to state what the special land use was limited to, but if we want to be extra thorough, I don't have an issue putting it in the motion if.
Yeah, through the chair, I know what Chair Foster's getting at, so we've changed the language on our newer motions to actually include what the special land use is for instead of just saying the application itself. So this one is for, it's a bit of a mouthful, solvent recovery centers and facilities handling, manufacturing, blending, refining, using, or storing chemicals deemed hazardous by state or federal regulations. And that is why we do have the condition, which is the exact same condition approved by City Council back in September. The special land use is limited only to the handling and storing of chemicals deemed hazardous by the state or federal regulations. Manufacturing, blending, refining, or using such chemicals is prohibited.
Good with that?
Through the chair, Kyle, is it deemed then?
Yes, that is correct.
Friendly motion, or edit to the motion?
Yes. In the,
Deemed instead of seemed
yes.
in condition 1. That works. That is a mouthful, so thank you for the clarification.
Me too. Okay. Thank you.
Any further comment? All right, we'll take a roll call vote on the motion.
Commissioner Akers,
Yes.
Commissioner Brazen,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Azar,
Yes.
Commissioner Hagfors,
Yes.
Councilman Polka,
Yes.
and Chair Foster.
Yes. So finding 5 would be reduced to 4, and then we'd have 2 additional conditions? Is that what you're thinking, or we're thinking?
Is it reduced to 4 or to 2? Like, are you considering, are there 3 trees and 2 trees? Or is it just the 3?
Based on the math, if we thought we could fit 3 trees on the east side, and then I'm assuming 1 tree per island, if they're able to do that third island, so then it would be a reduction down to 1 tree, is my math, but maybe.
That, they can't
They would be doing the
Oh.
2.
tree in the last island, so it'd be 3 and 2, right? So 5 total?
And if we did the,
If we did it based on Greenbelt, though.
if we did the, a waiver of 4 for payment in lieu of 4, but then you were able to add more, then you just wouldn't have to do the pay in lieu for the additional. But we would have the waiver of up to 4 to give you, some flexibility in what you can, or,
What you do with
different-
the end
yeah.
caps based on,
Yeah.
yeah, gotcha,
Right.
okay.
Through the chair. My only concern about the end cap trees is that those tend to be very small in space, and trees have a hard time surviving in, if it's only gonna be like 10 or 12 feet, by 7 feet, wide, it's hard for a tree roots to get enough water, and all you have is concrete and asphalt around there.
Yeah.
The just as a confirmation, the revised finding number 5 would read, the planning commission accepts 4 greenbelt trees to be placed in the city's tree.
Correct. And then we would need a condition that they're adding 3 trees in a landscape area on the east.
I'll make that finding.
Along Farrow Street. And then it could be either in that condition or another one to do the island.
Unless there's any discussion. I move in the matter of 1401 Farrow, civil number 2535-105007. Planning Commission approve the site plan based on plans dated June 29th, following findings and subject to the following conditions. Finding 1 through 4 as written. Finding number 5 would read, the Planning Commission accepts payment in lieu for the required 4 greenbelt trees to be placed in the city's tree fund. And adding finding number 6, which would read, 3 trees will be added along Farrow in an increased island. Also increasing island size at end of 2 parking areas.
I have a,
That's not elegant, sorry. but,
we can discuss the motion if I have a second.
I'll support.
and one condition, condition 1 as listed.
Thank you. As a motion by Brazen, support by Hagfors. I have a friendly amendment. So instead of adding the condition, finding 6, I think it would be better as a condition number 2 to add the landscaping requirements. And so, and sorry, I didn't really catch everything. So 3 trees to be added in an expanded landscaped area on the east side of the parking lot along Farrow Street, with addition of landscape parking islands. To be 2 landscape parking islands.
Possibly 3,
Oh,
pending engineering.
2 to 3 landscape parking, I think we can put in 2 to 3 landscape parking islands to be reviewed and approved by city staff.
Yes. I'll support that change.
All right, you're welcome. With that, we'll have a roll call vote. You guys good?
Commissioner Azar,
Yes.
Commissioner Hagfors.
Yes.
Councilman Polika,
Yes.
Commissioner Akers,
Yes.
Commissioner Brazen,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
and Chair Foster.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Sometimes it goes left to right, sometimes it goes in alphabetical
We're
order,
trying
like.
to change it up, so I'm not always stuck being the first one.
Oh, I'm just used to being stuck being the
Yeah.
first for most. Yeah,
Understood.
Yeah, acres.
there's very
Moving
few. and
on
like-
to item 6, administrative items. I see Christina Ross approaching the podium. You have something for us?
Hello, everyone again. So we have 2 administrative items today. I'll take the first one and Kyle will take the second one. The first one, I'm sure you guys are all aware by now, but Plan Ferndale has been awarded the Daniel Burnham Planning Excellence Award for Best Comprehensive Master Plan of 2023. We're very excited, very honored. This is a great achievement for us, so thank you for all of your hard work through the 1.5-year long process. So yeah, just thank you.
Well, thank you. You guys put a ton of work into that. So great job, especially being pretty new and jumping right in. So we really appreciate all the work that you put into that. And to all the volunteers that we had on our committee for the master plan. So thank you.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. It was super cool to get that news. I do want to give a special shout out to Christine. I noted this at the city council meeting, but who Smith Group started with in terms of city staff was entirely different from who they finished with. But Christine, I think, was the bridge, and for a while she was flying solo with it. So I thought that was really commendable. So I just want to give special credit to her for that. But as for my other administrative item, just a little update on the zoning ordinance rewrite. So we have been working with McKenna. We've been meeting as a steering committee. So Chair Foster and Councilman Polika are both on that. We have finalized our first 2 public engagement sessions. I've sent that out to you all separately, but just to announce it, we are having our housing diversity event that is going to be at Urban Rest Brewery from 12 to 3:30 on Saturday, July 22nd. So we would love it if you all came and gave us some opinions. It's primarily going to be led by McKenna. It's more of an open house format, but you can stay, hang out. The other event will be on Thursday, July 22nd. It's a bit of a 2-parter. We have a walking tour of downtown. So that will start here in council chambers at 12:30. We are providing lunch. Then there's a walking tour, so we're going to go all the way down 9 Mile and walk back. We have a few stops planned out. Then there's going to be a small kind of workshop discussion after the fact. And then we're going to have a more typical open house public engagement session at Street Sounds, which is that same night. Again, Thursday the 27th from 6 to 9, so we'll be set up along 9 Mile. The other 2, which are based on racial equity and sustainability, are planned for mid-late August, but we do not have those details finalized yet. So we are moving along. McKenna is moving along. I think they are going to begin the process of drafting, once they get all this feedback. So we are still on track. And if you're interested, McKenna will be at City Council on the 24th to do a nice presentation.
Will the communications team be putting these on Facebook? I haven't seen them yet. I got your email, but I didn't see them.
They are coming,
Oh, okay.
yes. And Christine has already been placing them around town at public places, but also private places that will let us. We want to advertise Zone Ferndale, so we have our own website, which has sort of been beefed up just today, actually. So we do have some more information on there. A little bit about the process, relevant documents, some helpful links, and also advertising the public engagement sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make sure my person with the ADU question comes to the housing diversity one.
Great. And I think we had an ADU, similar question, and maybe that, do you remember on our committee, we had, I believe, that same question that we had already discussed, and maybe that's why Greg had responded. Anyways, there's a whole conversation about ADUs that
I
we,
remember them discussing it, but I don't remember anything specific. I remember us having the conversation about making sure that it was included. Kyle, do you remember? I don't remember anything specific, like directionally what we wanted. I just recall us talking about something that, we need to include that as a new.
essentially the comment is about ADUs and being accessible. And so typically you think of ADUs being above a garage. We want to make sure that we're not limiting accessibility by, requiring a specific setup. So especially when it could cost much more if you are requiring it on second floor. So that's a great point. So invite everyone to these events because feedback is only as good as, the number of people that turn out, I believe. So thank you for setting those up. Moving on to commission items, I just wanted to give a congratulations, though he's not here, but to Commissioner Showalter and their new family member. You guys already know, but just in case Matt's listening.
Text him right now.
Sure he tuned in, Jeff.
He might be trying to fall asleep.
I'd like to note that we're going to be ending in less than an hour, and Commissioner Showalter is not here.
Unrelated thoughts.
I was going to give national housing policy update, but it's really only relevant to Kate, so I'll just catch her afterwards. Any other commission items for this evening? All right, well then with that, we will adjourn at 7:16. Thanks, everyone.